There's no place to escape to.
This is the last podcast.
On the left.
From your grave.
That's when the cannibalism started.
What was that?
You look good. You look good. Right, Marcus?
He looks great. I told him as much in my head when he got here, but I didn't say it. But I thought in my head, like, he looks good.
He looks good. Extra large.
All right, are we good to go? Mm-hmm. All right, that's Marcus.
Oh,
Wait.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're good? That's
Mm-hmm.
You just sipping on your coffee?
Oh, yeah. Let me just get some of that coffee in there.
Yeah, good. That's Marcus Parks. I am Ben Kissel. And then we have, he's drinking a coffee.
My name's John Beans Crocomo. Yeah.
John Beans Crocomo.
Coffee reviewer, and I gotta say, this coffee certainly doesn't taste like liquid diarrhea.
That's good.
So it gets 4 stars for me.
To Dunkin'
Anything
Donuts,
that's
yeah.
not, I'm really into any coffee that's not just straight up liquid shit that a man has like shat into an old rusty bucket that another man has warmed over some sort of hot plate and then has taken a ladle, an old rusty ladle as well, poured it into some, half-used styrofoam cup. That's the kind of coffee that I don't really appreciate.
Poo-poo coffee, yeah.
That coffee that's just straight up liquid diarrhea.
Yeah, just the dookie coffee.
It's coming out the gate here.
All right.
Full speed.
Well, that's good. Well, speaking of full speed, Ted Bundy. Johnny Bean Kokomo.
Yeah.
Johnny Bean. That's the worst intro we've ever had.
I believe it is, yeah. I'm going to put that number 1.
Oh,
that's number 1?
Or
just drinking my coffee.
Number 101, actually.
Wow.
I put it at the bottom. Out of 101 intros, that's 101.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
We're really hitting rock bottom here.
Yeah.
Hey,
That's great.
I love the taste of the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, lick the bowl. All right, Ted Bundy. He's out of Seattle. He's broken out of jail.
He's
He's
free
cruising
again.
across the country.
He's in his VW bug. It's a holiday row.
yes.
See you in the Griswolds over in Chicago.
Smoking doobies while he drives.
So, yeah, and then again, he sits down. He has an Italian beef sandwich. Have you ever had one of those?
Oh, wonderful sandwiches.
Ooh,
yeah.
Yummy, yummy.
The Italian beef sandwich. If you hadn't had one, get out there.
Get on there. It's just get on a train, get on a boat, get on a fucking plane to Chicago, have yourself an Italian beef sandwich.
You don't even have to kill or rape or have sex
don't
with corpses to
have
do it.
to.
You can just go buy one.
You can just make one for yourself in your home. I mean, at the same time, again, you don't have to kill them.
Right. Is that what this whole thing? This is just an elaborate scheme to get Italian beef sandwiches from Ted Bundy? Like, Ted, you could have just bought them. Oh!
What?
I thought there's a whole thing going on.
Get out of here.
With the ladies. I was given wrong information. Can I just say that?
I'm just trying to make ghost bullets for heaven.
I'm sure beef sandwiches would be one of his excuses because God knows Ted Bundy.
He's got a dozen of them. So this is the second half of Ted Bundy's road trip across America. He just got done seeing his alma mater beat the other team at the Rose Bowl.
Michigan Rose Bowl game.
He escaped to Chicago after his escape in Colorado, and of course got to see the Rose Bowl game. Got to see his alma mater beat the University of Michigan.
It must have been the last
Bowl.
time he got to really smile when it wasn't just him coming all over some dead girl's
It's nice.
makeup face.
Well, that's why sports are so important for society, you know?
That's the thing. Get into sports. Put your kids in gymnastics.
That's
That's
right.
what I always say. Don't let them just go out there fucking just raping and killing animals. Just get them into animation camp.
Killing
That's what
animals
I did.
could be kind of a sport. Yeah, you did animation camp?
Yeah, not really active kids.
No.
And
Not
so,
shocking.
on January 8th, 1 week after he escapes from Colorado, he arrives in sunny Tallahassee, Florida.
Wow, I love
Feel
Tallahassee.
the breeze in my hair.
I can. Sand's coming at you. Uh-oh, there's a little birdie. It looks like it poo-pooed on your head.
What? They say that will bring me money.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that.
Superstition. Oh wait, no, I just want to play it out a little bit just because I need to relax. It's 25 degrees outside right now, and
I mean, Jimmy Buffett's just constantly thrilled because he makes terrible music, charges $50 a ticket, and just gets loaded
Buffett
off of money.
is a genius.
He is a genius.
He's also a novelist.
Isn't that something?
Yeah. I think he wrote a book called Margaritaville.
Yeah,
Clever name. Goes with the song.
go down and check out my other song. It's called "Wishing on a Coconut." And,
I love
my
Wishing.
baby just accidentally turned into a pile of coconuts.
Wow.
And me and my baby are going conkin'.
Conkin. What do you-
Yeah, conch is a type of shellfish that exists in the
Oh.
Florida area that's got a meaty bunch in the center of it.
Well, that's
and
good.
you get it in fritter form, so enjoy yourself, Ted Bundy, when you pull up with your beach chair and you got
Yeah.
your pina colada, because this is where it's a happy ending, right? He went and the healing rays of the sun of Florida made sure he didn't kill anybody else, and he just sat on the beach being like one of those like cabana boys,
Yeah,
right? Like
well,
serving people margaritas.
I think that was his intention, and then somebody stepped on his goddamn beach blanket and made me lose it again. Which is pretty sad.
Yeah, and that was his original intent. He was going to go down to Florida. He was going to get legitimate employment and just
Got to cool out for a little bit.
cool out. He was going to wipe it all clean. He thought Florida was a place where no one was going to know him or have even heard of him.
Yeah, it's not like Florida's the land of horrible mistakes.
No.
You know? But that's just what I mean, I guess Florida does make a lot of sense where you'd go and just be like, oh, you know, I could chill out in Florida. Nobody cares who you are in Florida.
Right. Well, he's literally, he wants to retire. He just
Yeah,
wants to
he's
retire.
retiring. Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's God's waiting room down there.
But of course-
especially for 4 girls in that Chi Omega house.
So Bundy,
You're
he
dangerous,
decides
Henry.
he's going to get on the straight and narrow. He applies for one job.
Where does he apply? At Publix or something like that?
Was it like a...
It was a construction
It's
site.
a construction
Okay.
site.
Yeah.
He couldn't even get a job at a construction
Yeah.
site.
Well, they
That's
asked
not
him
good.
for identification. Of course, he couldn't produce identification.
Because I think he changed his name to like Craig Roman.
Chris Hagen.
Chris Hagen. And now you imagine it going
Hagen.
up to someone as being like, you know, like, hello, my name is Chris Hagen.
Hagen.
And this is the first time.
Because
Like,
he's been calling himself Ted in all of his. He hasn't made up a name once.
Yeah.
You think he would make a name now?
he did have one other alias that was not Ted. Rolf Miller.
Yeah, I
Oh,
like
Rolf.
Yeah.
Rolf
Yeah.
Miller. He looked like a Rolf.
He did. I don't know what a Rolf looks like because I never heard that
I
name.
just imagine it as the dog puppet from the Muppets. That's the only
Rolf.
Rolf I know.
Yeah, that's a disgusting name.
Hello, my name is Cookie Monster Johnson.
yeah, are
sorry,
you?
named after my favorite Muppet. I'll be going.
Yeah, that's good. And by the way, you look a lot like Ted Bundy.
What did you say? Who?
Ted Bundy.
Yeah, I
The
heard
killer,
that guy.
Ted Bundy.
I heard that guy had a real shining potential going on in the Republican Party. Oh, well, I'll see ya. Name's Cookie Monster Johnson.
Get out of here, Cookie Monster.
So Bundy, not able to get gainful employment.
check him.
He's not be able to get gainful employment. He starts
Because
shoplifting
he
and
goes to
stealing.
he's like any trust fund kid in New York City. He just like shows up and he's like, I guess I'm not going to work at Uniqlo. Well, I guess I'll just spend daddy's money.
I just don't have the abs for Abercrombie and Fitch.
So he starts stealing women's credit cards
Models.
from women's wallets, and he spends all of his free time. Of course, he's got so much free time, so he spends all of his free time
Writing a book?
Nope, just walking around the FSU campus.
Oh, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
popping in on lectures, the big ones where no one notices.
Right.
Absolutely. You know, you got Rocks or Jocks, which was the geology class that all the FSU football players took. And then
Love
you got,
Rocks or Jocks.
Man, I wonder who's on the Landis Green. It takes me back to my alma mater.
Oh yeah, just so everyone knows, Henry did go to Florida State University.
Yes, absolutely. And again, I said it on the last episode, people get really upset when you talk about Ted Bundy in the Greek area
Yes.
of the university. It's a lot of fun.
And we'll get to that
Yeah.
right now. For
all
the
right.
man lasted 1 week in sunny Tallahassee.
Oh, man.
I understand. You know, I just got back into smoking cigarettes. I mean, about
Yeah.
9 months ago.
Right.
And so I understand. I quit that for 2 years.
Yeah.
You know, and it was I guess it was a fine 2 years. Definitely wasn't as cool as I am now.
You were doing well. You weren't coughing so much, though, and you got a little phlegm situation.
No. I feel very good, and I
Good.
feel that the sort of cell reproduction rate in my lungs is skyrocketing.
Yeah?
Yeah. That's perfect.
So Bundy, on January 14th, less than 2 weeks after he escaped from Colorado in 1 week.
Even just not look at a pair of bloody panties for fucking 10 days.
I mean, 7-day max. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you think about it, it had been a long time since he had killed, because he had been in prison for a while before that.
Yeah,
And
but
then the whole
wasn't
going on the lamb thing.
Yeah, but he was getting blowjobs and stuff like that. He was doing stuff.
I mean,
It's
what's
possible.
a blowjob to Bundy? You can't come with a blowjob if you're Ted Bundy. He was
guess
having sex
that's-
with corpses.
I guess that's true.
And that was mostly where he got his nut off, was on the corpses. He didn't rape the women that often when they were still alive. A lot of times he waited until they were dead, and then he would fuck them until the corpse putrefacted completely.
Well, yeah, but he also said a lot of that was because, I mean, that's a part of it that I agree with. I not agree with.
You agree with this necrophilia?
No. I mean, that I agree that he believes that this is why he did it, is that he was killing them in order to eliminate the evidence to not have any witnesses.
That's how it started.
Yes.
Like, that's how the whole thing started. But eventually...
That's just what you get into.
Yeah, that's just... But eventually, it became, for him, it was all about what he talked about. He said it was about the possession.
God, just
Like
so silent. You
Yeah,
know?
he would, for the first part, like, he killed them to get rid of the evidence, but then he said it was all about the possession. That's also why he would steal things, because he said it was all in the having. And he said when you killed someone, you possessed their soul completely. You possessed them. And he said, he was quoted as saying...
Isn't that
Let
what
me see
Freddy
here.
Krueger does?
He was quoted as
yes,
saying...
it is what he did. Yes.
Okay.
He said, you feel the last bit of breath leaving their body. You're looking into their eyes. A person in that situation is God.
Yes, and that's where
Yeah.
his monologue was based off of from the Ted Bundy movie.
Yeah, the
Where it's
Court of Ted.
The Court of Ted.
The Court of Ted. I like that.
So Bundy enters FSU's is it Chi or Chai?
Kai.
Chi Omega.
As in, like, a guy who works as a barista in a coffee store.
Oh, Kai. Yeah, I love Kai. He's one of my favorite baristas around.
Yeah, he skateboards to work. It's amazing.
It's incredible.
You know,
Always late.
People.
Always
Oh,
late.
yeah,
to
yeah,
work.
because it
Yeah.
takes fucking an hour to skateboard
Right.
anywhere, you fucking morons. Put
not
it down. Get a car. Get a bike.
Okay. It's a good idea.
you know
Maybe some
Just woke
rollerblades.
up mad. Woke up
You
mad.
woke up
No,
mad?
I'm fine. Not really.
Okay.
In character, yes.
He entered the Chi Omega sorority house through a rear door with a faulty lock.
The old
Thus-
trick lock. That's a brilliant idea.
And I
Paint
wonder,
the lock on.
I wonder how many houses he went to before he finally found Chi Omega.
Oh, because he
Real
was
lock,
just,
real
he
lock,
was
real
just
lock, fake
stalking.
lock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. What happened probably was like Brenda was just went out and she was just like, "I'm gonna go get some more Coronas for everybody. How's everybody? You guys anybody want like a Malamar?
Ooh, I love Malamars.
The lock was too hard to lock, so I didn't lock it." So sorry, y'all. Don't worry,
tricky.
Brenda. We're the safest. We're the safest one because we got Karate Chop Judy over here. But Karate Chop Judy died in her sleep.
Isn't that sad about Karate Chop Judy?
Oh, that,
You know,
the
I've
one
known
woman
her.
that knows karate in the sorority, and she fucking
Just
dies in her sleep
Nothing
of
to
a
do
brain
with,
aneurysm.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Nothing to do with Bundy.
So first
Isn't
he
that
goes to
sad?
the room of Lisa Levy, 20 years old. An officer found her without a pulse. They took her to the hospital. She died on the way. Her right nipple had been almost bitten off completely. Her left collarbone was broken. She had been strangled, and a Clairol hairspray bottle had been jammed into her vagina.
Now, he really likes doing that.
Yeah, he loves jamming shit into vaginas.
Right, right. So this is that's a large can.
It's a
large
big can.
hairspray
It's a
big
real
can.
big can.
Yeah.
And there was also a double bite mark on her left buttock. And
Okay.
that was the bite mark that they eventually used to convict him of this murder.
Yeah,
Oh,
'cause
Marv
they called
Albert
him
had
the,
nothing to do with that, huh?
No, not
Remember Marv Albert?
I do remember.
Oh, yeah, I remember
sort of
that.
remember Marv Albert.
Most disgusting sex scandal of all time.
Yeah. But no, he. That's why they called him for a while. They were calling him the Love Bite Killer, because that's where, and then that's how they convicted him.
I don't know if it's a love bite, but
And then he moved on to the room of Kathy Klenner, 20 years old. Well, actually, no. Then he moved on to the room of Margaret Bowman, 21 years old. A nylon stocking had been pulled so tightly around her neck that it was almost broken. She was beaten on the head so severely that her skull was splintered and a portion of her brain was exposed.
Man,
well, maybe he would have
just-
been good at that construction job.
You know, that's the
You know,
thing.
he's
is
got
that, yeah,
power.
Yeah, put him at the drywall.
Yeah.
Get
Have
him
him do
up there
demolition.
lifting girders and stuff like that. Yeah, he's pretty strong.
Yeah.
I blame the guy who didn't hire him for this construction firm.
Well,
Yeah.
It's all his fault.
Oh, but at the same time, I just can't imagine him also working and just going like, "Yeah, bitch, yeah, bitch."
Yeah.
Like while he's jackhammering a bunch of concrete.
He's
killer,
coming on the. Okay, well, he's got a strange way about him, but I'll tell you, that guy can jackhammer like I've never seen.
Shove these nails up inside this fucking woman's vagina.
You know what?
No,
Let's just
no,
take
no.
a coffee break.
He's really doing well. I mean, he put up that house in about 4 hours.
None of the locks work, though. It's kind of weird. It's almost like he wants to break
back
in there
here.
at some point.
You know.
It's kind of strange. It says ladies only on it.
And then he moves to the room of Kathy Klenner, 20 years old. They found her sitting up in bed, holding her head in her hands as blood was gushing from her wounds. She had lacerations and puncture wounds on her face.
So she wasn't pretty anymore?
Well, broken teeth, jaw
Yikes.
broken in 3 places, whiplash injury to her neck. She had to have a pin put in her jaw, and all her teeth were permanently loosened. She survived.
That's a good party trick, though, because then you can do that. Be like, it's like
That's
like
true.
when you hit the guy in the face with an anvil in a Looney Tunes cartoon, and his teeth come out like piano
Kind of
keys.
shake
Oh,
around.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you could just ask her about it.
Yeah. No, she's probably thrilled about the whole experience because she can do that one disgusting party trick that lost her husband. That's perfect. Great for a date.
And then Karen Chandler, 21, they found her staggering in the hall, blood streaming down her face. She suffered from broken teeth, a broken jaw, skull fractures, cuts, and 1 crushed fingers. She also survived. They found her at 3 a.m. because all of these attacks, all 4 attacks, happened within 15 minutes of each other.
15 minutes. He went on such a flurry. He went.
Yeah.
It's so nuts.
And 30
Yeah.
witnesses were within earshot, and not a single one of them heard anything.
It reminds me of the zebra killings almost.
15
Yeah.
minutes.
Where it's like that, just boom, boom, boom. Because now he's gone into, this is the classic example. That's why Ted Bundy has become like the ultimate picture of a serial killer.
Yeah.
Because he showed all of it. It's the cleverness, his like the idea of like he wants to put something over on people, the idea
Right.
of possessing things and people, and then now this is him in full rage out mode,
beast mode,
and
yeah.
he's going in beast mode, and he's going out there to cause as much mayhem as humanly possible because he's just permanently hard at this point. Because I bet
Yeah.
like now what's happening is that he can't even nut anymore.
Yeah.
like now it's just him because I believe he only raped one of them.
He raped later.
Yeah, so it's like he just
None of these 4. He didn't rape any of these.
So he just beat him up and jammed things inside of him, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, you could argue the hairspray canister. That's kind of a rape type situation.
That definitely is a rape, but I'm saying is that it's probably like there's something connected to it. There's probably like
Yeah.
he literally can't even ejaculate right now because he's so full of it. You know,
I know it. He's full of baloney.
I will say
I'd say full of beans.
That's right.
full of beans.
That's
that
just
guy.
Ted. No, that's a bunch of malarkey, Ted. You know that. You can't possess their souls, Ted.
But you know how like when you order about $35 worth of Chinese food, and then
Did
if
it
you're
on Sunday, yeah.
you know when you're by yourself eating, like you could. It could be a dead girl. You know what I mean? Like, it could be, like, you feasting on the butt of a dead girl. Just going like...
Yeah.
And it's like if anybody walked in while you were eating that, you'd just be like, man, get away.
Yeah, I had a situation like that on Sunday evening. I got 3 sets of silverware. I pulled it off.
Wow.
Yeah, I got the old 3 sets.
3 stars, buddy. They're like,
Yikes.
That family must be so hungry.
Yeah.
Oh, they never eat.
They must never eat. Yeah, that's
They
the
must
thing.
never
But then
eat.
Daddy got a paycheck today. So,
Well, his night wasn't even over yet. Because after Chi Omega,
He had to go to the after party.
after party, he went to the basement apartment of Cheryl Thomas. She was found lying diagonally across her bed, barely conscious, whimpering and writhing in pain. Her face was turning purple with bruises. It was swollen, and she had several serious head wounds. She suffered the worst injuries of all the survivors that night. Her skull was fractured in 5 places, causing permanent hearing loss in her left ear. Her left shoulder was dislocated, her jaw was broken, and her 8th cranial nerve was so damaged that she would never have a normal equilibrium. Dizzy all the time. She wasn't released from the hospital for a
And
month.
it ruined her career as a dancer.
Yeah, she was a dancer, and it completely ruined her career. So she was never able to dance again.
she's going to work around it, just trying to
And the only
make a new little
Oh,
dance.
I love that new wobbly ballet.
Yeah, I love the wobbly ballet. It's my favorite ballet.
And the only reason why he didn't kill her was because the girls next door heard the sounds. They heard thumping sounds. They heard the whimpering, the crying.
Woo, woo, I'm the doctor.
Okay.
He was completely silent during all of these.
I feel like he's holding back.
Yeah, he didn't say a single
Yeah.
word because they only heard the cries and whimpers of the girl and the thumpings. They didn't hear anything from him. And of course, in Chi Omega House, nobody heard anything because all of these women, the two women who survived, they don't remember the attacks at all because
they were hammered.
They were asleep. Like they were,
Yeah.
asleep. Like this was 3 a.m. The attack happened around 3 a.m. And Bundy, there was one witness that saw Bundy coming out because the girl came home and she heard a commotion upstairs and she heard someone
And then
running
she
down
saw a
the
dude
stairs.
running out of the
she
house.
saw a guy running out of the house with a log wrapped in a cloth. And the log was the bludgeoning instrument that he used. So he brought
Very
his own
Twin
instrument.
Peaks.
Yeah, very log lady.
Yeah,
Log lady
very
from
log
Twin-
lady. I was
Twin
going to
Peaks.
say that.
Yeah.
See, I am such a light sleeper. I literally check my house for intruders about 3 times a night.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a bit paranoid in the nighttime.
Doesn't sound like it at all. I invite them in. Come into my house. I got a knife right by my bed.
You do?
I'd love to use it.
That sounds like a suicidal thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. That's what it is. So he beat these women with a log, and
Yeah.
he just found it outside their house or something?
Yeah, and apparently he picked it up. You ever been hiking and you just find a real good walking stick that you're
Yeah.
really happy
Yeah,
with?
and you beat a woman to death with it? Yeah.
No. You're just supposed to walk with it. Yeah, it's not the beating
yeah,
stuff.
it's something to hold. It makes you feel good, like a mountain man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You get your Gandalf moment.
Yeah, it makes you feel like you know what you're doing.
Sure, yeah. That's all I do.
Yeah, like that, Henry.
You know, when I'm out hiking about 3 or 4 times a week, I'm out there, I'm camping, I'm hiking, hunting, fishing, all the
Hunting,
stuff
yeah.
I do out there.
Right.
Yeah. The forest loves me.
Oh, yeah, you're an outdoorsman.
Yeah,
Everybody
you can tell
says that about
I was
you.
born with leaves in my hair, not because my mom was homeless. You know?
Oh, no, she had a great job.
So he waits almost a month. This gets him going for about 3 weeks, and he's fine for 3 weeks as far as we know. We don't. Then that's one of the things to remember about Bundy is that anytime you say there's a down period or an
You
off
don't know
period,
if it was or not.
you don't know if it was off.
Because
I
you
mean,
could have been taking like a life drawing class, like a figure drawing class.
Yeah.
You could have been doing anything. You could have been out you could have been an actor in a movie and we don't even know.
Yeah, I mean, we'd know that.
Man, that would be great.
That would
if
be
he was
great.
like in
The
movies
Bundy,
in between
yeah.
all this, yeah.
You could get cast.
So he steals a van and he travels.
Ted, on this next tape, could you not grip Brenda's hair so hard? Because it's a romantic comedy. you
Yeah.
know?
I don't know how else to do it. Yeah.
So he drives 100 miles west to Lake City and he abducts Kimberly Leach, 12 years old, from a playground.
And this is how you can tell he's really lost his bearings.
He's off the rails.
Because he would, I honestly, well, because he did, technically he did this once before, but when he was first starting, he abducted that girl in Colorado, the younger girl. And so you could tell now it's just like, whatever, wherever, we got to get this going because, Daddy's got a nut tonight.
Yeah, rudderless. And he did rape this one.
Yeah.
He raped her.
Something about how you said it and the way you...
No, it was a strange laugh, Henry. A strange laugh. I don't know.
They searched her. They searched for her for 8 weeks. They finally found her bare bones in a pig pen. So he had strangled her.
Was it the
raped her.
Kissel house?
The pig pen, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I call my bedroom.
Ugh, it's what we all call your bedroom.
Thank you. Well, that's good to know. All right.
And that was his, as far as we know, his last murder on February 12th. He goes up and he decides it's time to get back to basics. He steals a VW Bug.
He loves these.
He
He
loves
loves
the
the
Bug.
Bug. That's his thing. That's his cards. The VW Bug.
His favorite movie was Herbie the Love Bug
Yeah.
because that's what he called his VW van. You
Yeah.
know?
So he decides he's hightailing it to Alabama, but a cop finds him on the way. He checks the plates. Of course, the
And this is-
VW Bug is stolen.
This is so dramatic too.
Oh,
All of
my
this is
God.
amazing.
And so Bundy, he tells the cop that he's under arrest. The cop tells Bundy he's under arrest. Bundy kicked the cop's legs out from under him, took off running. Lee fired a warning shot, and then a second round gave chase and tackled him. And also, like Bundy, he feigned like he was shot. He's like, "Oh, I'm shot. And the guy
Always acting.
always
He's good.
acting.
He's a Robert Downey Jr. of
really
serial
is.
killers.
And so the guy takes him down. The two struggled over Lee's gun, and finally the officer takes him down. They find in the stolen vehicle 3 sets of IDs from the FSU co-eds.
God, just get rid of the shit, man.
Yeah.
What is your fucking problem?
Yeah.
Well, he's Ted Bundy.
Yeah, it's true.
You know.
And as the cop transported Bundy to jail, he heard Bundy say, "I wish you had killed me."
But now comes your grandest hour, Ted Bundy.
Yeah, this is
And you
the
don't
thing.
realize now you get the stage like he always wanted it.
Is to put on his show.
Well, that's when the trial begins. First, the
Yes.
Chi Omega trial.
This was one of the first nationally televised trials
It
in
was
American history,
The first nationally televised trial.
which is amazing. Just the
Yeah.
idea of watching it on television would have been incredible. And he was, he was zip-zopping, man. He was saying some really great stuff. He was dropping some Anthony Hopkins, fucking Bobby De Niro bullshit up there. Really just slinging it.
Yeah.
Yes, anding everybody,
Yeah.
using the proper rules of improv.
Yes, and I did
Then I raped
that
you.
girl.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yep. He represented himself mostly, or at least he handled most of his defense. One of his lawyers wrote that Ted was facing murder charges with a possible death sentence, and all that mattered to him apparently was that he be in charge.
And it's because he's
believe
just a
that.
total, again, he's a complete psychopath.
Yeah.
And he's just bad. But he had some law training, right? Did he go to law school? No.
He had gone to law school briefly in Utah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was when he was baptized into the Church of Latter-day Saints.
God, this guy's lived 10 lives up to
So
this
many,
point.
so many.
He really has.
He might have sat in some law school classes as well over there at FSU, sneaking around.
Well, yeah, I mean, he probably
possible.
audited something. If I would, I imagine that he would also be doing it like at the Fashion Institute and being with all the girls going like, yeah, that's a pretty dress. Yeah, I like it when it's all tattered up.
Yes. It's not done yet. I'm still sewing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame because this way it just kind of just rips out of it. Yeah.
Are you
Hey.
registered for this class?
No, name's Ted. I'm sorry. No, name's Sled.
Sled.
I gotta go. I'm sorry. I gotta go apply for a job at a construction firm. Be a governor. I gotta see it.
All right.
And of
What a
course,
guy.
the testimony that puts him down is Connie Hastings and Nita Neary. They were Connie Hastings saw him in the vicinity of the FSU house.
Just all the evidence.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
there's a lot
Nita,
of it.
yeah, and Nita
The
Neary.
log came in and testified. Yeah. You know.
I just wanted to be used in a fireplace.
And then he was-
because of all the Christmas children, and then he went. Oh man, I didn't want to kill him, girl.
It's
and he
sad,
put it
Log.
inside her vagina, and I was like, oh man, I just wanted to be I wanted to be a Yule log.
I know you did. I know you wanted to be a Yule log. What did it feel like to smash those women's teeth out?
You know what? There was a strange part of me that was incredibly satisfied.
Oh, you enjoyed it.
Let's get him off the stand. Let's
Get him out of here.
Objection!
Bundy's like, keep him up there. The log did it. That's what people don't understand about this whole story. The log did it the whole damn time.
So the biggest physical evidence that the biggest thing that sunk Bundy was the bite impressions on the woman's butt. They did castings of his teeth.
And then
They
Daryl
compared
Hammond did them on
I
SNL.
love those bite impressions Daryl Hammond did. That's great.
them. So what happened in Chi Omega House, Henry?
So, what do you mean what happened?
Why did you get kicked out?
Well, it's because there was a time period where I went to like 3 frat parties in my life. And one time I went to a party and it was exactly that, where it's like I was a young man who knew a little bit about serial killers. And there was a thing called the Bundy Trail. Back behind the Chi Omega house, there was this dirt road that was called the Bundy Trail that people would dare each other to walk down when you're super drunk. You'd get super high, walk the Bundy Trail, and be like, oh, I'm gonna rape, you know? And no one ever did.
No.
You
It's
know?
been used. It was already all done.
Of course, it's all done. It's all done.
Yeah.
But I just, of course, where it was just like, and so there was a party at the Chi Omega house, and I went in there. And it was just the standard, just kind
You
of
brought
hang out,
your
getting
log
drinking,
as well.
Yeah. So I had little Google eyes on it and be like, remember?
Yeah.
But no, I was sitting there and it was just the standard, all I had to do was like, so this is the Ted Bundy house, right? And everyone's like, okay, so you're going to go.
Get out of here.
All right, I just wanted to check,
Yes.
So yeah, and they just asked me to leave.
Smell the blood.
Yeah, I was a
they
solid
should've-
285 then.
Oh, that's
Wearing
great.
my Rasta hat, I had a knit cap that I wore and a dashiki.
I think they were just looking for any reason to kick you out. And then as soon as
Yeah. I was kind of cramping everybody's style.
Yeah.
Reeked of weed, you
Right.
know. But I was going through a sort of a pan-ethnic
Yes.
phase at the time.
God.
It's a sad phase that every college student has to go through.
Yeah, everybody's got to go through it. Yeah, everyone tries to be black for about 6 months.
Yeah.
So of course Bundy was convicted of two murders, first at Chi Omega, and then convicted again for the little girl. But during the penalty phase of the trial, this is kind of bizarre. He brings a woman named Carol Ann Boone.
Now he's just doing crazy
No,
shit.
he's just doing crazy shit.
Shenanigans.
He brings this woman, Carol Ann Boone, to this to the stage.
I mean, really, it's more of a stage than a
now,
stand
I
at
think
this
it's
point.
kind of a stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He brings her up to be a character witness for him so he could maybe avoid the death penalty. And by
The TED
some
penalty. I like it.
Yeah, the TED penalty. By some obscure Florida law, if you ask someone to marry you while they are testifying under oath and they say yes, you are then legally married.
Yep. And
He's
so
brilliant.
he brought her in there, and like at the end of her like testimony, like defending his character, he's like, "And will you marry me?" And she's just like, "Oh my God, yes!"
I've been waiting this whole time.
Yes. And then they got legally married right there in the court.
That's how I'm going to get married. I'm going to
when you're on
stage a
trial for
series.
murder?
Yeah, I'm going to stage a series of different murders, but it'll be like the end of the game.
Oh yeah, where it all turns around, and your mom and dad are there. There's
It'll
like
all be a
band
ruse.
and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, I've got a woman in mind. She's
So
going to be a
you're
character.
not a murderer?
No, actually, I love you.
I gotta go.
Oh, you didn't like this whole thing?
I liked when you were a bad boy murderer, not when you're a big, stupid redhead stand-up. I gotta go.
Well, that's why I ordered 3 dishes of Chinese food on Sunday. Very similar real date. All right.
So, actually, and Bundy has a daughter out there. He impregnated this woman in 1981.
And I bet she's super hot.
She probably
I'm sure
is.
She is. No one knows what her name is. Where they think she lives in Seattle
Her name
somewhere.
is Gled Gundy.
Glad Gundy. Not very good at making up names, are you, Glad? Yes, it's in my family history.
We've never been able to.
Isn't that funny?
And so Bundy in 1980 was sentenced to death by electrocution for a third time. This is the one that stuck. And this is where the famous photo of him screaming in court comes from.
What did he say again?
Tell the jury they were wrong!
You know?
And that picture is my desktop background right now on my
That's
computer.
nice.
I love that because if you look, it looks like he's holding his hand over his head while he's screaming.
That is just the face that you would see if you were one of his victims.
Yeah.
It's a face that he was so properly constructed everywhere he went that this was like the one time when he lets go and you just see the face. I'm sure that's when everyone's like, "Yep, he's going
nailed
to the
it.
chair." Yep.
Yeah, nailed it. And he did not put away his jailbreak ways. In 1984, guards found 2 hacksaw blades hidden in his cell.
Of course.
A steel bar in one of its windows had been sawed completely through at the top and bottom and glued back in place with a homemade soap-based adhesive. And I have heard a theory that Bundy did actually escape from prison
Yep.
and killed and then returned just to prove that he could do it.
You know, like
I
on
mean, that's
modern
the
day
thing.
Robin Hood. And then we
Sort
also
of.
read that we also read sort of. And then we also read that other possibility is that the Republican Party looked, basically
Yeah.
they were looking at the long game back in the 1970s, and they thought that this Ted Bundy could really be a great, he could be an amazing president.
I agree,
And then
yeah.
he had a sort of dead ringer quality for a young George W. Bush. And that George W. Bush was murdered, and that Ted Bundy, like they were switched.
Yeah.
George W. Bush
That's
was
great.
put up for the crimes of Ted Bundy. It was all framed, and that Ted Bundy was really George W. Bush, who was a 2-term president here in America.
That's
and
right.
not going to explain some of these policies.
Right. Well, I never heard that theory before, but I'll tell you, it's not right. It is not right. No, that's great. I
You don't
believe
even
it.
want to hear about the theory about how Bundy correlates his life correlates to the rise of Israel.
Yeah, that's we'll get kicked off to the air. For
Yeah,
something like that.
That's, I mean, we'll never work again.
This
if
is
we
always
go
the part
into
of the
that
show
one.
where I slowly back out of the room and I come back in 45
I just
seconds.
love getting those emails at 12:45 where Marcus like actually found because normally we do serial killer stuff. There's very little like full conspiracy theory
right.
stuff. But then he sent me that one thing where like Ted Bundy equals rise of Israel, and I was like, oh,
I can see it.
Yeah.
Oh, that didn't even get into the Illuminati stuff.
Oh, yeah,
But there's a
of course.
Bundy family that is that is involved in the Illuminati that is not related to Ted Bundy.
Yeah,
I
they're
see.
the Bundy of the donut community. They make fabulous donuts.
Right.
Bundy's
filled
nuts.
with girls' fucking blood.
There was also the Married with Children theory that's why they named them the Bundys, because they're supposed to be the worst white family in America, and most of the writers on Married with Children were African American folks, and that was the whole reason.
like a
they
big
named it.
joke.
Huh.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Well, so let's get into some of we want to hear some of what Ted Bundy has to say. So
Yeah.
now during this time period, Ted Bundy, he becomes a serial killer college class on his own because he spits out some theories that are both either retarded and then also dead on, where it's he dissects himself. Because the thing is that there is no Ted Bundy.
Yeah.
Ted Bundy is a figment of his own imagination. He is a hollow person that he can fill himself with whatever identity he wants. And it just so happens to be that, the thing that gets him the most excited is rape and murder and stealing and all of then escaping from prison. He loves to escape from prison.
Yeah.
But, there's not much else going on behind the eyes.
Yeah.
Well, it had been years when the FBI's Behavioral Sciences Unit, they had been trying for years to get an interview with Ted Bundy to really figure out how this guy ticked, what was going on with his fucking insane serial killer brain. And they kept sending their senior officers after him, and he wouldn't talk to any of them. And finally, there was a young guy who was in his first year at the unit, and he was like, can I take a crack at him? And, and they thought,
sure.
sure. They thought sending someone who was young, naive, kind of pliable, it would play on Bundy's ego a little bit.
Worked.
It completely worked.
Because exactly what it was. It was this, he came in, he played this sort of angle of like, gosh, I need to know more about this so I can be better at my job. Like, and
Golly,
you know
Mr.
everything.
Bundy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he spilled his guts, and that's what there's a movie, another Bundy movie where Carrie Elwes plays Ted Bundy, and it's all about this. It's about the confession.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because he did
like
not
that
give
one.
the confessions until the day before his execution.
Yeah, the full confession.
The full confession.
Yeah.
Because then he gave another false confession, which is what he blamed everything on porno. And then those full confessions didn't come out until 2005.
Yeah. And we've got them.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's shitty audio quality.
That's the one thing.
It's really bad audio quality.
It's better
so
if you
bear
listen
with
on
us
headphones, but it's I guess it's been copied like 90 times.
It's been copied, and and of course, they're recording this stuff in 19. Well, a lot these come like through I think like 3 or 4 years of interviews with
Yes.
Bundy, like these clips, because there are hours and hours and hours of tape footage, and all of this stuff was smuggled out by someone in the FBI. It was leaked by someone in the FBI, but it's only small snippets. Like, there's very little narrative to this whole thing.
I have the full confessions, and I'll put them up on the Facebook page.
Fucking A. All right, well, we're going to
Not
listen.
that I listen to them once a week.
No, you would never do that.
I know, I don't listen to the Jonestown death tape all the time. I mean, it's just...
No, not like it. You literally just toss it on and you sit and, while Nikki's like cooking in the other room and you're just she's like, what are you listening to? And you're like, shut up! Shut up!
It's not my happy place at all. Okay, let's listen.
All right.
Ted Bundy in his own words.
Well, can you hear that?
I can hear it, yeah.
Okay. I just said that the Hawkins girl's head was severed and taken up the road about 25 to 50 yards and buried in a location about 10 yards west of the road on a rocky hillside. Did you hear that?
See, he had a really hard time with getting into the Grizzly stuff. Like, once he started talking about the Grizzly stuff, because that was, they were saying, there was a plea bargain that was put up before the third conviction. There was a plea bargain that came out that said if he admitted to the 3 of the murders at the Chi Omega house, he would get a solid 75 years and no death penalty. And he was working on it, and he said yes for a while, and then basically he just couldn't handle the fact that he would have to tell people that he was guilty, because then that would fully shatter the illusion that he was, that, because that's what pathological liars do. It's the idea is like you live the lie, and so there's no crack in the lie. Like you can, because then no matter what, you can keep going down being like, no, it's real. But finally with this, that's why you'll notice with all of these tapes, every time he says something, he's very trepidatious about saying anything about like the bodies, like what he did, because that was where the real shame was. Yeah, but it was also where the sweet nut went.
Yep, that's his alone time. It's tough to share that with people.
All right, let's hear another one.
Let's see, we're to the car. All right.
Talking about Georgianne Hawkins here.
And basically when we reached the car, what happened was I knocked her unconscious with the crowbar.
Where do you have that?
By the car.
Outside?
Outside and back of the car.
Did she see it?
No. No. And then there were some handcuffs there, along with the crowbar.
Along with what?
The crowbar. And they handcuffed her and put her in the passenger side of the car and drove away.
Was she alive or dead?
Oh no, she was quite she was unconscious, but she was very much alive.
I mean, I wouldn't say very much alive.
I mean, she's like she's more like she's pre-dead.
Yeah, sort of soon to be dead. Oh, and
what
that's
a
how I met
fucking
your mother.
monster this guy was. Like, honestly, like, in terms out of all of them, as much as, like, I always give to me, the ultimate monster will always be Jeff Dahmer, just because he's just got the look. He's got the look. But, like, Ted Bundy was just a perfect wolf in sheep's clothing. Yeah. Like, and that was the thing, too, is he could get any woman he wanted. People described him as beautiful. There's the fact that, like, now it's become a cliche how handsome he was, but that's what everyone says. He was a beautiful looking man. He had a rugged, like, just a thing about him. He was just, like, magnetic. And then he uses it in the most grisly, because all of these women were brutally murdered.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because they were bludgeoned to death. There's like nothing. There's not like being beaten to death is probably the worst way to go.
Yeah. Except for maybe being burned alive.
Yes.
Or buried alive.
Yeah, because it's long.
Buried
it takes
alive
minutes,
is the worst.
Buried alive is the worst.
Yeah. Well, we figured that out. That's good. That's good. All right, we have more confessions.
Yeah, we've got more, and these last three, all of these he's been talking about Georgianne Hawkins, who this was a girl that he kidnapped from a well-lit alley during finals week.
Yes.
So here's another part of that confession.
It's all sexy circumstances too. It's just like finals week. It's the 1970s. Nobody's wearing a bra.
No, definitely not.
This is probably the hardest part. I don't know. We're talking sort of abstractly before, but we're getting right down to it, and we'll talk about it. It's just, I hope you understand, it's not something that I find easy to talk about after all this time. One of the things that makes it, among the things that makes it difficult is that at this point she was quite lucid, talking about things, about some. It's funny. It's funny, but it's odd.
It's funny, but it's not funny.
Things people say under those circumstances.
That is hilarious.
And she said that she thought that she had a Spanish test the next day, and she thought that I had taken her to tattoo me for a Spanish test.
Tutoring for a Spanish test.
Yes, I'll teach you the word muerto.
Oh, there we go.
Spanish.
Nice.
And we got one more that is actually, I think this one's kind of funny. But
I mean,
where
he's got a sense of humor.
where he's talking. This is him talking about his process during his control days of the trickery of the cast and all that.
Oh, sure, yeah. I threw away the briefcase and the crutches and all that stuff. Yeah. And the crowbar, everything. Handcuffs, everything. I gotta get mad at myself a few weeks later because I'd have to go out and buy another pair. I mean, it's not comical, but that's what would happen.
He's like, it's not comical, but it's kind of funny, you know. I don't expect you to get it, but I think I got a weird sense of humor though.
It's kind of a joke with myself, you know.
Yeah. It's got to be. I mean, how many crutches did he buy? You know,
A shit ton.
Just a lot of crutches. That's got to be a red flag. That needs to.
Oh yeah, just dumpsters full of crutches and old and fake casts and shit.
So, Mr. Bundy, you never really seem to be hurt. Yeah.
I like how they feel in my armpits. Does that make you feel better?
Okay.
You like that explanation?
Well, whatever. We gotta ship them. We gotta sell them. So, might as well be sold to you.
Another thing that he said during the confessions, he said, "Guilt doesn't solve anything. It hurts you. I guess I'm in the enviable position of not having to deal with guilt."
He's a lucky man.
Yeah, it is true. I mean, he was just built to it. It's like an ultimate predator. He's a shark.
Yeah. And he said, and of course, going back to the possession of people, he said first it was the possession of objects, then it was the possession of, I guess, the possession of a person's sexuality, and then finally the possession of the remains. He decapitated
of Hummel figures. He had over 95 Hummel figures, came all over him.
Mm-hmm.
He decapitated 12 of his victims with a hacksaw and kept at least one group of severed heads, probably the 4 found on Taylor Mountain, in his apartment for a period of time before disposing him.
Yeah, and he called the Beatles. You know what I mean? And he's like,
Ringo's
coming over here
Ringo.
again.
Ringo wants soup. Ringo wants soup.
Oh, Remo's getting that fucking soup tonight.
Nut soup.
Soup de jour.
What is that? Soup of the day.
Semen.
Oh, I see.
Another investigator said that this right here, I've been reading up a lot on the heavy hitters lately, and I think this right here really does distinguish Bundy from Gacy. Is that he said that when he described the Issaquah crime scene, it was almost like he was just there, like he was seeing everything. He was infatuated with the idea because he spent so much time there. He was just totally consumed with murder all the time. But when Gacy would talk about his murders, he would
just like, no.
Yeah.
He puts it away.
Yeah.
Where John Wayne Gacy, like, that's where it's the different things where it's like John Wayne Gacy really felt that his front personality was who he was.
Yeah.
I mean, like, whether or not that's a lie or not, because it could actually be the truth that the front John Wayne Gacy could have been the real Gacy and that the murderer Gacy was the shadow Gacy.
I think that's the truth.
But Ted Bundy, the real Bundy, was the only person who had any aim in life was the shadow Bundy.
Who's the real Bundy?
Yeah, the real Bundy was the murderer Bundy.
I mean, that's the only Bundy. What other thing did he have in society? Gacy was, he had a job.
He just wasn't good. It's true. It's like
he was
Gacy
validated
ran a
by
company.
society. Yeah.
You know?
Gacy ran a company. He was a Democrat. He was a chair in the Democratic Party.
Yeah. Ted Bundy always fancied himself a politician, but he could never do it.
No.
Yeah.
And like any lady listener of last podcast, it's like, how many times have you had a boyfriend, or even like anybody who's had a boyfriend that like, he was always like, yeah, I'm gonna be in a band, but he just sat around just like, it's like, no, you're not.
You're doing heroin though. I see you're on to heroin now. That's good.
So Bundy, in his confessions, of course, he withheld many details in the lead up to his execution because he was trying to get a stay of execution. They started calling it Ted's Bones for Time scheme.
Yeah, it's so interesting because then when we're talking about that,
scheme.
because that's when he got involved with helping him find the Green River Killer.
Yeah.
Again, he knew nothing, but he was just because he would show up with like reports. Like he'd go and like write reports and come back and be like, "Here's my information." It's like, look, I wrote all about the psyche, and it's all like garbage.
Yeah, it's all garbage. And yeah, by the way, they didn't catch Gary Ridgway for another 17 years.
It's just kind of a myth that Bundy helped out.
No, he's like
was-
a government
yeah.
consultant.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did absolutely nothing. But of course, him trying to postpone his execution by withholding details, it pissed people off, and it kind of made them they fast-tracked Bundy's case.
Oh, yeah.
They fast-tracked his appeals to get him to the electric chair as
quick
soon
as
as they
possible,
possibly
yeah.
could.
Again, because once a liar's out in the air, once a liar's like out on the spotlight, and it's all gonna, the threads are gonna come away from the fucking
Yeah,
spotter.
and of course he had tons of scapegoats. He blamed his abusive grandfather, the absence of his biological father,
Possible.
the concealment of his true parentage, alcohol, the media, the police. He accused them of planting evidence, society in general, violence on television. He accused television programming of brainwashing him into stealing credit cards.
Because that's what turned it
yes.
to. I also felt like what was the case that used the Twinkie defense, or something along? He used sugar
yeah.
as well. There was a big sugar push that he did with a mass consumption of sugar, deformed his mentality, and then
see
he
it.
also, and then pornography, which is just
He's a little ridiculous with
he's
that.
a
I mean,
little ridiculous. If
80s porno, that's nothing compared to what we have these days either. You know, that's
No.
like, it's pretty
Yeah.
soft core smut.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like if porno made you a serial killer,
Then.
we would be like Pol Pots.
Oh my God, yeah.
We would be sitting
It would
on
be
mass
a-
graves.
It would be a real nightmare.
Oh, so pornography became his last and biggest scapegoat. So the day before his execution, he brought in Mr. James Dobson. Focus on the family.
Focus
correct?
on the family. He's a total psychopath.
Yeah, and this is what I went to. I went to his website, and this is what he said about Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy had something important to say, and he believed the media couldn't be trusted to report it accurately. Therefore, I was invited to bring a camera crew to record his last comments from death. What was it that Ted Bundy was so anxious to say? He felt he owed it to society to warn of the dangers of hardcore pornography.
Thank you, Ted.
And to explain how it had led him to murder so many innocent women and girls.
I love
With
that-
tears in his eyes, he described the monster that took possession of him when he had been drinking. His craze to kill was always inflamed by violent pornography.
No, this is
It's
my
just
question.
not.
Is you like you really think you trust a serial killer?
James Dobson's a psychopath. I remember hearing about this when I was growing up. They would always say that stuff. Porno leads to murder, and I'd be like, what the fuck are you
What are you talking about? Is this the fact that he would go to get a quote from the most infamous serial killer in like
Right.
American history,
Yeah.
and you see, James Dobson's the only one Ted Bundy could trust? Great.
I mean, James Dobson is Bundy's last psychological victim, though. Dobson was like, wow, that's true. Okay, I never
Absolutely.
knew. Brilliant.
So here we've got a few clips from Ted Bundy's interview with James Dobson. Here's him blaming pornography.
Yeah.
A young boy, and I mean a boy of 12 or 13, certainly,
So gross.
that I encountered outside the home again, in the local grocery store, or the local drugstore, the softcore pornography, what people call softcore. But as I think I explained to you last night, Dr. Dobson, in an anecdote, that as young boys do, we explored the back roads and sideways and byways of our
So full of
neighborhood,
shit.
and oftentimes people would dump the garbage and whatever they were cleaning out of their house, and from time to time we'd come across pornographic books of a harder nature than more graphic, you might say, more explicit nature than we would encounter, let's say, in your local grocery store. And this also included such things as, let's say, detective magazines and...
Well, detective magazines, that was also something that they used in Ed Gein's defense, because
Yeah.
Ed Gein was he was obsessed with detective magazines and Nazis and all that sorts of shit.
Yeah, but
But
I mean,
so am I.
we're
Well,
totally
all right.
fine for the most part. You know?
So am I. I've got. I mean, I'm in pretty much my office right now, and I can see 4 true crime books from where I'm sitting.
Oh, yeah.
Just take a look at my living room. I was
Yeah.
like, looking at what people talk about. Like someone brought up on the Facebook page of just like, being that guy who talks about weird shit when everybody talks about stuff. It's like, can you imagine being in our lives? What we're like in real life?
Oh, man.
God, it's hard to talk about anything else. It's like everybody's got that interesting thing, like during a lull in conversation, they've got they've got that thing. It's like, oh, did you know?
Do you know that we had an astronaut exchange program with the alien civilization living on the planet Serpo? And they're all like, "Thank you, Henry. If you could please get out of the audition room,
Yeah,
that would
you
be
gotta
wonderful."
go. You gotta get out of here immediately.
Oh my God! All right, let's hear a little bit more from Ted Bundy. This is him talking about, this is where some of his like famous quotes come from. One of his most famous quotes come from.
Basically, I was a normal person. I wasn't some guy hanging out at bars or a bum, or I wasn't a pervert in the sense that, people look at somebody and say, I know there's something wrong with him, and just tell. I mean, I was essentially a normal person. I had good friends. I led a normal life, except for this one small but very potent and very destructive segment of it that I kept very secret and very close to myself and didn't let anybody know about it. And part of the shock and horror for my dear friends and family years ago when I was first arrested was that there was no clue. They looked at me and they looked at the all-American boy. And I mean, I wasn't perfect, but I want to be quite candid with you. I was okay. Okay? I was. The basic...
Okay.
He was unemployed.
See, but this is also like, that's where the lie comes in too, where you feign having like, a humility and all. What a fucking bag of shit. He never said a single true word in his life.
No.
He was born that way. Like, I don't believe that the grandmother being the mother and all of that, I don't believe in any of that forming your fucking personality. You were just born hollow, and you just got the right set of circumstances where it's like, I mean, he could have been a CEO of a company. You know what I mean? Like, that happens.
Maybe, yeah.
Most sociopaths become CEOs of companies.
Yeah, and you just figure out how to temper that. You either figure it out, you either find the thing that, because possessions is what he was talking about. If he had gotten a job where he was making millions of dollars and could have bought everything he wanted, he would have just been, I mean, I know it's like, this is not excusable, but he probably would have just been doing rough sex with prostitutes while he had a family on the side, like any fucking Republican senator now.
Yeah. I mean, that's
like just fucking boys in a fucking truck stop bathroom and then going home to your family and going against homosexuality on the fucking news.
Well, here's what he said, what he would be without pornography. Because according to Ted Bundy, without pornography, that's who he would be.
That's what he would have been.
Here's it. Let's hear what he has to say about
Ted,
that.
what would your life have been like without that influence? You can only speculate.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, of course he can.
He starts crying.
Far better, not just for me, and it's, excuse me for being so self-centered here. It would have been a lot better for me and lots of other people. I know that. Lots of other innocent people.
I just want to see a bullshit meter next to him going like ding, 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 ding.
It would have been a lot better. There's no question, but it would have been a fuller life. Certainly a life that would not have involved, I'm absolutely certain, would not have involved this kind of violence that I have.
Oh, fuck you.
That I have committed.
Yeah, maybe, we all would have been scientists without pornography, but when it comes down to it, some of us got better shit to do.
Yeah, look at
Someone has got
pornography.
other shit to do, you know?
I love
Jesus
it.
Christ.
And here we have Bundy's final warning.
And what scares and appalls me, Dr. Dobson, is when I see what's on cable TV, some of the movies, I mean, some of the violence in the movies that come into homes today was stuff that they wouldn't show in X-rated adult theaters 30 years ago. This stuff...
The slasher movies that you're talking about.
That stuff is, I'm telling you, from personal experience, the most... That is graphic violence.
I love getting moral
screen.
criticism from Ted Bundy.
Particularly as it gets into the home to children who may be unattended or unaware that they may be a Ted Bundy who has that vulnerability to that predisposition to be influenced by that kind of behavior, by that kind of movie, that kind of violence. There are kids sitting out there switching the TV dial around and come upon these movies late at night, or I don't know when they're on, but they're on and any kid can watch them. It's scary when I think what would have happened to me if I had seen. I mean, scary enough. I mean, that I just ran into stuff outside.
You are the monster these movies are based on.
Yeah, you did it. You did the crimes. He's so
funny.
full of shit.
Yeah.
It's so fun though, because it's like
real fun. I love it.
When you find somebody like that, it's just
Right.
how serial killers just sort of are also like archetypes of people, where it's like Dennis Rader's the nerd fucking dickhead boss that you have at your fucking
Right.
office job, and then Jeffrey Dahmer is just that. Jeffrey Dahmer reminds me of a kid I knew named Thomas in elementary school who used to wear his Boy Scout uniform every single day and eat his own boogers with 2 fingers, and everyone
fingers.
just like he just never had a place in life, and he committed suicide.
Did he
at
really?
the age of 15? It's pretty rough, but he
Yeah.
lived he just never fit into society.
He lived a long, good life.
He lived what he had to live.
Double digits.
You know,
That's what
and
we're
then
going
John
for.
Wayne Gacy is like, that funny big dude who's really charming and you never know would
Yeah.
have like a whole secret life.
It's
Yeah,
great.
yeah. You don't never really like. He's those guys. I know we've all hung out with the Gacy before, where he seems like a real fun. Yeah.
Pat you on the
yeah.
back,
Yes.
like buying cigars and whiskey for everybody. And it's like, yeah, you should come by my apartment. I do all these rope tricks.
Yeah.
Then you eat his office Lunchable, and you find a whole other side to him.
Yeah. Nope, he's the guy when you eventually go and hang out with him, just mano y mano.
Those
That's
long
when-
silences where he's got the beer between his knees and just being like, I just got a lot of regrets.
Yeah,
And you're just
Yeah,
sitting there
it's
like,
not
well, it's about time for me to be going,
But you know what? I think we have to save Gacy because I think he's gonna be our next heavy hitter.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, Gacy's
So
our
we're gonna
next
be
heavy hitter. But Bundy, to wrap it up, he died in the electric chair at 7:16 a.m. on January 24th, 1989. 5 days after my 5th birthday.
Wow.
An
It's like
estimated.
he planned it that way.
Yeah. Did you guys
Sorta.
watch it for your birthday? Did you guys all did they prop you up on Daddy's knee and you watched it on TV?
Nope, as I've
Oh,
said
what's he doing in the shaky chair? He's dying, son.
No, as I've said before, I just cut his execution photo out of the Weekly World News and put it on my wall. But 2,000 celebrants
That's great.
sang, danced, and set off fireworks in a pasture across the street from the prison as the execution was carried out.
2,000 people?
2,000.
Wow.
Have you seen the footage from it?
It's pretty crazy.
It's really
amazing.
crazy.
It
Yeah.
looks like a Skinnerd concert.
It
That's
really
so
does.
funny.
Yeah, I mean it's Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I
And
could have
these
gotten
people,
to do a tight 10. That crowd sounds like a good crowd. They would have loved some of my bits.
And it happened at 7:15 in the morning,
Yikes.
so those people have been drinking all
All night.
all
they-
night long.
This is in Florida?
Yeah, this
Leave
is
it to
in
Florida. The most white
The
trash.
tailgate out front of
Yeah,
the
it's not
fucking
a
execution.
NASCAR event.
And they set off
The
fireworks. They
Seminoles
had
aren't playing.
fireworks ready that they had saved from New Year's.
That's so funny.
You
Guys
know,
are grilling
Bundy's
out.
execution's coming up in about a month.
You know what I got to do? Make some beer chicken.
I love the beer chicken.
And his remains were cremated in Gainesville, and the ashes were scattered at an undisclosed location.
And that's just a Florida story.
Isn't
Yeah.
that something?
in an undisclosed location in the Cascade Range of Washington State, which is
Oh, where all his heads are. That's so nice.
yeah, not exactly like they
Reunited,
didn't.
and it's been so long.
It could be on Taylor Mountain, who knows? But I'm sure Carol Ann Boone, his wife and mother of his daughter, probably took the ashes out and scattered them according
Probably
to his
put a
will.
whole clump of them up inside of her vagina.
Yeah, I'm sure. Just to feel him one more time.
Yeah. And there are, so many other murders that could be attributed to this guy. He
Countless, because he traveled. He traveled
Yeah.
from state to state. God knows whatever he picked up, like hitchhikers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's like Henry Lee Lucas, who is another big hitter that we will also cover.
of course. Yeah.
All right, well, that's Theodore Bundy.
Yeah, we put a bow on that.
Yeah, bow it up, Bundy. All right,
Can we
everyone.
go out? Can we listen to one more dulcet tunes of
Yeah, let's listen to some
Margaritaville right before?
I like that.
Just because I need some warmth.
Yeah,
It is 20. It's just rough out there, man.
it's getting a little nippy outside.
It's real rough.
How's it in Minneapolis, everybody? How you
you
guys
doing?
feeling?
They're cold.
Yeah.
Oh,
Woo, put my straw hat on. Feet in the sand. Oh, is this a litter box? Woo!
this is nice.
Having a pina colada. Bruh.
This reminds me of my childhood when we go to the lake and go fishing, and my dad would catch bass and he would cut them open, and then he would take the eggs out and then just immediately put them in his mouth.
That's disgusting.
All while listening
All right.
while listening to Margaritaville.
That's very nice. All right, what is it? Magustalations?
Hail Satan!
Hail
Hail, Satan. Hail yourselves, everybody.
Take a trip to Florida. Enjoy yourself.
Yeah. Follow the laws of God and man.
Follow the laws.
Now I think love the